Strachan. Good footwork. Oh, a save!
Manchester United entered the 80s in the charge of Dave Sexton. The 70s had been a decade of much hope but little success. Sexton had been set the task of emulating two men. Sir Matt Busby, the godfather of Old Trafford, the man who had set the standards, and Bob Paisley, the grandfather of Anfield, who was again setting the championship pace. Liverpool title holders, United the main contenders. It was to be the story of the 80s.
Well, Bristol City must be careful about Gordon McQueen coming up the corners. He's scored 7 goals this season for Manchester United. And as Ashley Grimes attempts to bend this ball in, McQueen has gone right onto the goal line. Flicked on as well, and in came Joe Jordan at the back. And Jordan makes it 1-0. And McQueen congratulates him. Was Buchan. McElroy saw that well and seized it well. Koppel. Well, his momentum took him on there, really. Macari's in the centre. Oh, McElroy! Jordan coming in. What a tangle. Oh, it's Merrick and own goal! Jeff Merrick put the ball in his own net. Jordan causing problems again. Here's McElroy. Wilkins has made a run through the centre. Grimes. Macari near post. Jordan! They're appealing for offside, but the goal has been given. And Joe Jordan gets his second.
Though Jimmy Greenoff had officially retired, he somehow recovered to face Liverpool in the unofficial title decider. A year earlier, Greenoff's goal against Liverpool has settled the outcome of an F.A. Cup semi-final. United needed more of the same from him now.
Kennedy, Dalglish and McQueen again, and McQueen has slipped and Dalglish has a clear run at goal and he scored! Koppel, Jordan, Koppel, and Alan Kennedy is in trouble. In comes Thomas. Clements has got the ball. No! Thomas has hooked it in. McQueen lurking just in the semicircle at the edge of the area there. Clements stays on the line, and the header has gone in from Jordan. 2-1 to Manchester United. And it was turned on, in fact, by Greenoff, who got the deflection. Jimmy Greenoff, the Roy of the Rovers goal that he talked about before the game.
It was the first of 6 successive wins that lifted United within touching distance of their first title for 13 years. Joe Jordan led the way with 13 league goals. United needed some luck, needed results to go with them, but on the final Saturday of the season they travelled to Leeds with their holy grail still just in reach.
Farlane, Flynn, Harris, Graham far post, and turned in by Farlane. And so Kevin Hurd with the opportunity to put Leeds United 2 up and Manchester United out of contention for the championship, whatever is happening at Anfield. Well, his opposite number, Lukic, saved the penalty in the fixture at Old Trafford. But Bailey can't match that. And Leeds United take a 2-0 lead in the 76th minute.
There wasn't much in it. The 2 points lost at Leeds were all that separated Liverpool and United at the start of the 80s. Liverpool had comfortably outscored United. Sexton's solution was to spend more than £1 million on Gary Birtles. In his first season, he scored just 1 goal in the League Cup.
A couple. Ooh, that ricocheted awkwardly, and there it is! Put in by Birtles, his first goal ever for Manchester United.
McIlroy in the chase for the loose ball and gets there. This is Alderston. Aim for Greenhoff, it beats them all, comes through. Couple has given Manchester United an early lead. Leicester have had problems so far from Manchester United's corners. I wonder what they've got up their sleeves this time. Jovanovic has joined Macari on the near post, and Koppel's in the middle too. So is Grimes. This is United's 12th corner of the game, which tells the story of their pressure. Jovanovic! What a week for the Yugoslav. Nicol. This is Koppel. O'Neill watching him all the way. Grimes again. Macari! What a magnificent goal by Macari. And Grimes again playing a key part in the attack. Thomas. And they're queuing up for United. Greenhoff missed him. In comes to Jovanovic. 5-0. Here's Birtles. It didn't run quite right for him there. Cross in. Koppel. Is it in? It's there. And it's Jordan.
When Sexton waved to the fans at the final league game of the season, he was waving goodbye. 5 days later, he was sacked. He'd taken United higher than anybody since Busby, but not high enough. A 9-match unbeaten conclusion to the season had lifted United only to 8th place. Next, please.
So really, would it be fair to say that you possibly got a short list of 3 with one outstanding favourite?
We've got a short list of 2 with one outstanding favourite.
That outstanding favourite was Laurie McMenemy, but he turned down the chance to manage the club he'd beaten at Wembley. Martin Edwards was looking for a big man for the big job.
And I think also we're looking for somebody who can project the image of the club.
Is that something that you felt Dave Sexton didn't do?
I think it's an area that Dave Sexton found difficult. I think he made strides in the right direction. I think certainly he improved towards the end in that direction. But I think, yes, we're looking for somebody who perhaps more PR orientated, who can perhaps project the image of the club to the outside world.
Laurie McMenemy, we looked at Ron Saunders, we looked at Bobby Robson, and Ron was the 4th choice, I would say, probably at that time.
I mean, I said to Martin, I want to quiz you first, and he was brilliant, you know, and you know, I knew we could work together. And I said to the chairman then, I said, let's try and do it quickly. Why don't we try and get 3 or 4 in as quickly as possible, get the nucleus of a side, and then we may not have to go into the transfer market as often. And that in effect happened. I mean, I think we signed 4 or 5 players very, very quickly, or within 2 or 3 months. And then after that, we didn't really buy anybody major for a couple of years.
The composition of the team was changing fast. But not so fast that Sammy McIlroy, a link with the Busby era, couldn't still have a say in Atkinson's new United.
Wilkins, good vision to pick out McIlroy. And here's Stapleton in a race with Bradshaw. And Frank Stapleton puts Manchester United in front in the 9th minute. Birtles allowed to turn. Gallagher getting in the way of Wilkins' attempt to thread it back to Birtles. And then presented here For McElroy again, who makes the most of it. And the free kick will be taken by McElroy, who scores. And that will lead surely to protests from Wolves. Bertels, the touch was sure. So much of Manchester United's work has been this afternoon, and Sammy McElroy produces a hat-trick in superb style. Stapleton and Bertels, magnificent goal. In from Robson, and that's Stapleton, and that's Moran, and United go in front. Gary Bailey has a fine record in saving penalties in the First Division, and now he faces Terry McDermott. He blasts it past him. Forward from Robson. Now Augustin. Played through by Stapleton. Here's Augustin, who rolls it past Grobbelaar. And Manchester United get a goal that, if it is the winner, and it looks now as though it will be, is deserved for the way they've ridden the penalty against them and come back at Liverpool. And they produce some superb football here with Augustin and Stapleton. And Arthur Augustin keeping his balance sufficiently to get it into the corner.
It was like Vietnam. Great games, I mean, great atmosphere. You look forward, you didn't need any motivating for that. Everybody was up for those games. And, you know, we always did quite well against them, which was encouraging.
Not quite so encouraging, a third-round cup embarrassment at the hands of Second Division Watford. January 1982, and as they say, United could concentrate on the league.
Kidman guiding it down for Duxbury, who miskicked. Harida. Ransom. Gets past Augustin, and City have men forward here. And Bailey, it's in! It's Reeves! Corrigan above them all. In from Kidman. And it's Moran!
Stapleton. Now Wilkins with the shot. It's in! Well, Ray Wilkins has scored at last for Manchester United.
If Ray Wilkins remembers that rare day for that rare goal, it was the introduction of a 16-year-old substitute that proved to be of real significance to United's immediate future.
It was the 24th of April 1982, and Ray Wilkins scored a goal from outside the box, which was very rare indeed. So I remember that, and we won the game 1-0, and I think the win bonus that day was something like £600 or £800, and I done 12 minutes work on the park. I was on £16 a week. And we won the game. I couldn't believe it. I thought I was a multi-millionaire all of a sudden, you know.
Norman was 25 when he was, I guess, when he was born. I mean, he was born a man. And it wasn't really, I mean, I can hardly remember seeing Norman playing the reserves. I can remember seeing playing a very good youth team. And I thought he's going in, which, you know, one or two of the coaches around where I thought it was a bit early for him. And I said, I don't care what you're saying, we're putting him in. And I mean, he never looked back after that.
Now Wilkins. Robson, Katalinic for Stapleton, and it still won't go in. And what a skirmish. McQueen. And McGarvey, yes!
Ron's revolution was taking shape. Third place at the first attempt. Happy days were here again. Wembley and silverware, less than a year away. This was where Manchester United belonged. This is what the club's transfer millions had been invested in. This is what its rich traditions and its insatiable fans were demanding. Atkinson led United out onto the Wembley turf 4 times during 1983. And though the Milk Cup turned sour on him, he filled the P.F.A. Cup with sparkling champagne.
McQueen looks for Whiteside. Took it down beautifully, turned away from Hansen. Whiteside! What a fantastic goal by the 17-year-old after 12 minutes play. Lee. Again, the outlet is the fullback, Kennedy. It's in! Shot struck Macari. Kennedy. Whelan. And again, Whelan's scored it! Brilliant goal! Ronnie Whelan, who got 2 last year against Spurs, has scored the second for Liverpool today. Stapleton's touch, oh, and Koppel! Second week running, Steve Koppel. Stapleton. As Whiteside's header, Brian Robson is underneath it. And he's put Stapleton away. What a brilliant finish by Frank Stapleton.
Koppel against Money, relaying it quickly to Moses. Moses trying one. Remy Moses, 7th corner in the second half. Stapleton getting in there, and Moran. And now it is all over.
Koppel blocked away by Powell, who was about 4 yards off the ball when the shot was finally taken. But now Koppel, Whiteside, far side. This is the best chance of the match, and it's made to count.
Atkinson calls off Duxbury, so Macari asked to go on for what can only be a few seconds to use his goal instincts to some effect. It's Macari who jumps in the middle of the pack. Moran, Steve McMahon managed to block the shot. Robson. Here's Macari again for Stapleton. It's one from the books of fairy tales, and the fairy tale aspect comes from Macari.
It was a gamble. I just ran on, I saw Mickey Duxbury there. If it had been Gary Bailey, I would have pulled him off. Whoever was nearest had to come off to get Louis into the penalty box.
It's a good ball by John Hollins to Ricks. Robson is again well forward for Arsenal, and Bailey comes to meet him. And here comes Petrovic. And Robson's in there, and so is Woodcock. Orbiston making a run forward down the left. Here comes Brian Robson. He's in with a chance. Yes! The Manchester United captain has equalised. Orbiston. Oh, Grimes is onside, and so is Whiteside here. Oh, I say! It's amazing!
Now Smiley. And Howlett now. Crossed in towards Smith. And a goal! Brighton have scored!
What a crazy
Gordon Smith has put the underdogs into the lead. There's Wilkins now, sprays it wide again for Duxbury. Played forward first time at Davis, and a good ball by Davis for Duxbury. And it came back off Jimmy Case for Duxbury, and crossed in once more, Whiteside, and Stapleton! 1-1! Ron Atkinson off the bench, because he knows that was so vital. Ryan, here's Whiteside, but Ryan's there challenging And in the end, losing out as Muren picks his way out of that little bit of trouble. And what a ball there for Wilkins. Orbiston's made a tremendous break through the middle for Wilkins. Oh, a brilliant goal by Ray Wilkins. Well, he's doing a lap of honour on his own. There's Grealish. Will he try a shot? He's thrown it for Stevens!
I told you.
2-2.
I told you.
Cut out there. Case. Turned on as Robinson got the legs. Scott Moran after him, and Robinson still in control. Play for Smith, and saved by Bailey. My word, what a remarkable finish.
My actual thought was, when Smith hit it, I thought, let's get this back on the spot, and have we got time to run from the kick-off and equalise? And I couldn't believe when I saw Gary Bailey sat on the ball.
I think sometimes people keep talking about Smith's miss, and nobody ever says, well, what a great save it was from Gary Bailey.
That was just a lucky save. As a goalkeeper, you've got to wear going out at feet, you do it properly, the ball hit my feet and it stuck. I mean, that's the sort of odds you play as a goalkeeper. But that was the last kick of the match, and if we'd have lost to Brighton, then I don't know.
I was quite pleased the way it worked out, that it was a draw. And we always said that we wanted to win it on St. Busby's birthday anyway, which was on the Thursday in the replay.
Wilkins playing it on again for Alderston. In turn it goes for Whiteside. Stevens is watching him. Now Davis just playing it back for Robson. McQueen trying to get above his man on the far side. There's no foul there. Davis with a chance of pulling it back once more, which he does well. Whiteside! Another one! In once more towards Robson. Stapleton in there too. Oh, and it's given. And Robson making a break again. And the referee looking at a penalty to United. He deliberated long about that, the referee. 4-0. A smile of victory from Her Royal Highness Princess Michael of Kent, and the cup goes back to the north, to Old Trafford.
United went back to Wembley for the 1983 Charity Shield, where not only did they make off with the medals again, but they beat their perennial rivals Liverpool in order to get them. Bryan Robson, whose 2 goals won the match, was becoming something of an expert at trophy hoisting. But with the glory of the moments and the glitter of the silverware came the chance to broaden United's horizons again. Manchester was back on the map of Europe.
Orbiston, United still able to go pressing forward, still a goal behind, and Robson pulls it back from 25 yards. Orbiston with room to measure the cross, and Stapleton climbed so high above the defenders. United finally in front in this time.
High society engagements with Barcelona and Juventus were penciled into the diary. For United's tour of duty took them first to Prague and then to Varna in Hungary, where they won 2-1. Bryan Robson remained the standard bearer for their first away win in Europe since the 60s, but the supporting cast was growing in high-level experience. Arthur Graham got the winning goal that night. United's quarter-final opponents were the Barcelona of Maradona and company. Even without an own goal from the unfortunate Graham Hogg, it was a tall order. But when Barcelona scored a spectacular second with only minutes remaining, United needed their mountain climbing gear for the return.
Brian, what a fantastic match.
Yeah, it was great. We were disappointed with the result over Barcelona because we thought we should have beat them over there. The lads have proved that they've got a lot of character. That was a great result for us.
I felt we took the 3rd goal too early. It's a pity we couldn't get it in the 86th minute, then they might not have come back at us. But for all that, brilliant. Brilliant.
I know you're down to get in the dressing room. What are you going to do when you get in there?
Have a cup of tea. Okay.
This is a very different Juventus from the one we saw in the European Cup final. Last year against Hamburg, and here's Boniek, he's got away, and it's in. Galveston. Graham, Whiteside in the middle. So is McGrath. Took a long time to turn. Whiteside! 20 minutes left, and Whiteside has made it 1-1. Just Gentile and Hughes left forward. Shearer, and still Shearer. Got a deflection, and here's Rossi! Oh, how cruel!
Paolo Rossi was probably the hottest striker in Europe at the moment, at that time. 6 yards out with a ball at his feet in the last minute of a semi-final. He promptly dispatched it, and us.
But it was a plan to dispatch the club that was making the news. Different time, different media mogul, Robert Maxwell, the prospective buyer in 1984.
Nothing was ever concluded with Robert Maxwell, and so that was very unfortunate. The whole event, which was generated by him, and I wonder sometimes whether it was solely generated to create publicity for him. Where how big his intentions were of buying United, I'll never know.
Whereas 1983 had been a year of red might in the Cups, 1984 was a year of red faces. Third Division Oxford ended interest in the League Cup. Third Division Bournemouth, under the guidance of Harry Redknapp, brought an abrupt end to the defence of the P.F.A. Cup. But the catalyst for future Cup successes had been discovered. Following the impact that Norman Whiteside had made, Atkinson was ready to release another young buck on unsuspecting opponents. And it wasn't Peter Beardsley.
We had Peter on loan from Vancouver, and quite promising. He was doing okay. We had a staff meeting, and I said to Brian Whitehouse, the reserve coach, I said, well, what do you think? He said, well, I'll tell you what, we've got a kid in the reserves that I think's better, and he's for nothing. And that's Mark Hughes. And Mark Hughes is the biggest single reason that Peter Beardsley didn't come to Man U.
So Wilkins with the free kick to Duxbury. And Hughes came in! And what a start for him!
Moran, McGrath, Graham, Hughes, yes! Stapleton, Hughes, oh!
Rod Atkinson had started to spend again. After finishing fourth behind Liverpool again, he recruited two showstoppers in a bid to lift United to the top of the bill. Gordon Strachan from Aberdeen and Jesper Olsen from Ajax. United were box office once more, the great entertainers. Big Ron had brought show business back to Old Trafford.
Roda's header again. Thank you, says Robson. Hughes couldn't get it back to him. Carney finds Ryan, dispossessed by Olsen, and this is going to be a goal for Olsen! And Gordon Strachan now has the chance to put it past Kevin Carr to make it 2-0. And that's what it is. It would seem to be Manchester United's game for the taking, although they have let things slide before this season when they've been in the lead. Oh, but suddenly Hughes is clear and makes it 3. Duxbury, Robson, Olsen, combining beautifully those two as Robson now looks to get his cross in, but Carney is there. But he's only poked it out as far as Ormiston. Moses, Strachan, lovely play. Can Moses finish it off? Number 4! Brilliant goal! A long ball, seeking out Strachan, but not quite finding him. Yes, he has. This is 5. It's an absolute riot now.
we didn't have the consistency to bury the teams that we should, you know, lower down the table. And I think that's why we were good at putting the cup games together, because they were spread out, whereas week in, week out we didn't have the consistency to win the championship.
Olsen. Nobody there. Oh, and what a slip! Oh, what a disaster! Stricken the score for poor Rathbone. Whiteside. McGrath saw it early. Good pace, good control. Or was it? Yes, it was. It was bouncing horribly for him. McGrath.
Hughes is there. Good turn by Hughes. Splendid goal. That was beautifully brought down. Paul Allen out on the right. Four waiting in the centre here. Allen got it across. Hogg! Own goal by Hogg. Graham Hogg got the touch inadvertently. Strachan with the corner. Stewart again. Stapleton's in there with Martin. McGrath's header and turned on and in by Norman Whiteside. Whiteside got a touch there that showed pure instinct. Whiteside coming in. He's got a chance here. Yes! Norman Whiteside gets his second and Manchester United's third in the 74th minute. Goddard. Still West Ham won't give it up. Paul Allen in well here. What a good finish and well deserved. 6 minutes to go and little Paul Allen gives West Ham renewed hope. Oh, absolutely no mistake. 2 minutes from the end. They found a new penalty taker, but they found a place, more importantly, in the FA Cup semi-final.
Strachan will take this corner. Coming up to 25 minutes of the second half. And Robson! Biglin with the cross. Hogg up above Rush. Lee now. Whelan. Whelan again! A brilliant goal by Ronnie Whelan! That came off Strachan's hand, but again it wasn't intentional. And the little Scot finds Frank Stapleton as United come springing forward now. Hughes has made a dart towards the near post. Here's Mark Hughes, Lawrenson with him. Stapleton again. Olsen's in a bit of space on the far side. A deflection and a goal! And MacDonald belts it forward and the flag is up for an offside. The referee hasn't spotted it and the flag has come down. Dalglish. The cross comes in towards Rush. And Walsh. And they've equalised again.
The semi-final roadshow moved from Merseyside back to Manchester, to Main Road, where United reached the main event with another dramatic comeback.
Walsh battling away. Well, he took it on to Walk, and now Nicol. A little cross is required. Walk is there, and they've scored. Liverpool have scored. Donald. Dalglish. Robson. And Robson again getting it back from Stapleton. He's on his way. Can he find the shot? Brilliant goal! Bryan Robson makes a superb equaliser for Manchester United. That gets them off their feet. Lovely skill. Oh, and a ball that's through and he's onside Hughes. And it's there!
Manchester United had been carried back to Wembley on the shoulders of a hero to match any in the club's history. Captain Courageous, Captain Fantastic, Captain Robson had done it again. Robbo and the other players adjourned to majestic Windsor to prepare for the final. Their opponents, the champions Everton, came to Wembley hot-foot from a European final.
John Goodman.
No, that's your guess, guy. Somebody. A player. Derek the driver. Delboy the driver.
Kevin Moram, to become a central figure in that 85 final, typified the mood that Atkinson had spread amongst his players before the big game.
Very relaxing, very calm. Just get you away from the hotel as well, because at the moment there's a lot of bustle around there, so it's nice just to come out here, get away from all the cameras, all the press men.
There's more cameras on the
boat. Where did this come from?
Hughes. Olsen. Seeing what can pop up on the other side for him. McGrath. Oh, intercepted by Reed. And brought down with a desperate challenge by Kevin Moran into the book. Suddenly Everton looked to have 3 up and only one United player was back. It was Kevin Moran, and it was a desperate challenge there on Peter Reid. And that produced the booking. Oh, he sent him off. He sent Moran off. It's gone past Bracewell. Whiteside's onside. Strachan in the middle. Olsen up as well. The goal! Whiteside! That's incredible! Well, they've hurriedly put the red and white ribbons on that marvellous old cup. And it goes back to Old Trafford.
That wasn't a fluke. Norman could do that so many times in training. He could shape a ball like that. And as soon as you put it on its way, we thought, oh, go in, my son.
But the championship remained the burning priority, and a whirlwind start to the new season suggested this would be United's year at last. 10 straight wins just for starters. Remember it? Well, maybe not. A dispute between the league and the major television companies led to a blackout of televised football. Some film was taken during the standoff. This rarely seen footage is the only record of the fabulous football with which United kicked off that season. They scored 27 goals in compiling their perfect 10 and conceded just 3. When Arthur Albiston is scoring goals like this in main road derbies, you're entitled to feel that something special is taking shape. Injuries to John Gidman, to Jesper Olsen and Gordon Strachan were taken in United's lengthening stride. It was an injury to Bryan Robson which would prove crucial to undermining all of their good work. The Terry's talk was of United winning the title by Christmas. It was talk that you-know-who were to silence before the season was out. The manager could always see the name of Liverpool when he looked over his shoulder.
I think we'd have had a better chance, for argument's sake, if Liverpool hadn't had their best start for years. Whilst we'd had, I think their start, we'd won 10. I think they'd sort of won about, I think they got 20 points or something like that. You know, they were unbeaten in their first 10 as well.
Nonetheless, United were 9 points clear of Liverpool by the end of September. Robson was injured in mid-October, and although United remained unbeaten till November, by the end of that month, the gap was just 2.
John Gidman broke his leg in only the first or the second game. Gordon Strachan dislocated his shoulder, and so he was a big miss. And then Paul McGrath missed a lot of games that season because of a knee injury to him. So when you're taking 4 players out of the team like that, then it's difficult to replace them.
What's more, the man who had been firing most of the early season bullets dried up. Mark Hughes was still only 21, excuse enough for going off the boil. But there was another very good reason why Hughes became distracted during the second half of that season. He'd already been sold to Barcelona in an undercover deal.
I had to do newspaper articles denying that I was going, and all the time I knew I was kidding people, and it was difficult.
Were you miserable at that time? Were you worried?
Yeah, because I think deep down I didn't particularly want to go, I think. Obviously I knew it was a great opportunity, and financially I'd be a hell of a lot better off than I would have been staying at United, but I just got to the stage where I was enjoying the little bit of celebrity status I was getting in Manchester, and and really I didn't want to leave it.
Colin Gibson, Hughes, and Colin Gibson's through. He's there again. It's a goal. Colin Gibson scores for Manchester United at the second attempt on a ground where they always seem to do well. Well played by Jim Beglin to Sammy Lee. And Sammy Lee was caught against the post. Johnny Walk. 1-1.
The city of Liverpool, the city of Ron Atkinson's birth, provided the champions in each of his 5 full seasons in charge at Old Trafford. United were always there or thereabouts, always leaders at one stage or another, never failed to qualify for Europe, never finished lower than 4th. But 4th in what had looked a one-horse race left Ron under pressure at the start of season 86-87.
Heath's coming inside to join him. There's Heath. Oh, that's a superb goal. That's a terrific finish from Adrian Heath. And it just about finishes off Manchester United.
Now United were in the bottom 4. And in November, Martin Edwards brought the curtain down on the Bojangles show.
Somebody said with hindsight, there's lots of things you'd do different, but there's a lot of things I'd do the same as well.
Even in Ron's 5 years, we were never out of the top 4, and of course we won a couple of FA Cups, so that was an exciting era in itself. But I think by the end of Ron's era, things had started to dip, and it wasn't just the start of the season when he finally went. Form had started to go the Christmas before.
We were out in the cliff and I rounded the team off, and I came to the last one was Peter Davenport, and I called him Nigel. Nigel Davenport, the actor. And he looked at me. I said, I mean Peter. As I said to myself, that's a right bloody good start, isn't it?
It didn't start too well on the pitch either. His first game in charge ended in defeat at Oxford. Only Mark Hughes and Clayton Blackmore of Fergie's first selection would see it through to the glory days that lay ahead. From Little Acorns. A 2-0 defeat at the Manor Ground, followed by a goalless draw at Norwich before the first victory. Queen's Park Rangers the opponents, Johnny Severbeck the solitary scorer. The great tree had started to grow.
McCarthy didn't get there, and it's ended up in the back of the net. And they turn to Paul McGrath. O'Brien. Well played by Whiteside. O'Brien, Terry Gibson, Davenport is there. And Robson! Directly applied the finish for the move.
In the league, obviously, it was a matter of consolidating and make sure we weren't at the bottom pile come the end of the season, which we weren't. We did go up to the halfway stage, and considering we were second bottom when I came, I was quite satisfied with that. I'd love to have been better, but I was satisfied.
Here goes Robson. Goal! Skimmed beyond Sutton.
Alex was always determined to do it in his own way. That's the first thing that stood out right from the off. I think he gave everybody like a month, 2 months or so to get to know them, and then he'd made his mind up, and he knew which players he was going to release from the club, and he had a good idea of a few players that he wanted to bring in.
The first arrivals were Viv Anderson from Arsenal and Brian McClare from Celtic for a combined total of £1 million. Next to land was Steve Bruce, a Milk Cup winner with Norwich City. A new team was slowly coming together. Very slowly at first.
Lots of shouting went off in the early days, I tend to remember. I remember going to, there was myself, Kevin Moran, Paul McGrath, Mickey Duxbury, Brian McClare. We all played at Hartlepool's in a pre-season game. And I think we were 5-1 down at half-time. Well, there was pots and pans and things thrown at walls, and we were going, what is this, you know? We weren't used to this sort of thing. But it was justified because we didn't play well on the night, and we ended up, it had its desired effect because we went out in the second half and got beat 6-1.
The title was still a way off, But McClare quickly broke through one barrier, the first man since George Best to score 20 league goals in a season for the club.
Gone all the way.
Robson, oh, good play by Hudson.
My first full season we were second in the league, but I knew we had no chance in the league with the team I had. It's just maybe experience or an inner feeling you have, but whatever it is, I knew I was never going to win the league with that team.
The yellow ribbons were out for Mark Hughes. He was on his way home. Ferguson ended his 2-year overseas break in the summer of '88 via Barcelona and then Bayern Munich. The United graduate returned with honours.
I never had any worries about having problems settling back in because I knew the place, I knew everybody connected with the club, and I knew what it took to be a success there.
But I did feel that by bringing them back, I could bridge a lot of the gap, or the gap between the support and the club because of that.
You were giving the crowd their hero.
Yeah, exactly.
Good cross coming in towards Hughes. It's another one! A real tenacious bit of finishing there by Mark Hughes. Gets the right result. On the far side! Mark Hughes! Comes to Mark Hughes! Into the path of Hughes, will he get there first? Yes! Mark Hughes!
Players Player of the Year for 1989, Wales and Manchester United, Mr. Mark Hughes.
Hughes was to prove the spearhead for United's advance on the winners' enclosure again. But the old boy had returned to a new regime, and not everyone was prepared to toe the new party line. Ferguson sold Norman Whiteside to Everton and Paul McGrath to Aston Villa. Everything was to be done on the manager's terms. Everything, that is, except the sale of the club. In August 1989, Manchester United very nearly became the plaything of one Michael Knighton.
United hadn't got the money in the bank at the time to build the Stretford End, and the only reason that I considered the Michael Knighton offer was that part of the deal was that he would build the Stretford End. But of course what happened there is that Michael Knighton had other backers, and over the next few months the backers withdrew and Michael was left on his own. The whole incident was unfortunate from everybody's point of view, really. I think it's probably something that maybe Michael Knighton regretted. It was something that we regretted, and the board were more or less told him that because circumstances had changed, that really we didn't want the deal to go ahead. So we invited him to tear up the contract and join the board, which is what he decided to do in the end.
Others were climbing on board, Mike Phelan and Neil Webb. In a record £2.3 million deal, Gary Pallister. Paul Ince to learn the Robbo ropes in midfield. Danny Wallace, all signed by Fergie in the final 6 months of the 80s. All he needed now was time.
Driven in low, and Steve Bruce! The new regime at Manchester United off to a flying start. Manchester United looking to come again here with Duxbury. Hughes, that's a great turn, Mark Hughes! Webb. Neil Webb with a classic volley to embroider his first league game for Manchester United. Arsenal could lose here by an increasing number. They are now 4-1 down. Brian McClure.
But it got worse before it truly got better. United were beaten 5-1 by Manchester City. Alex Ferguson was looking down the barrel at a hostile press and public.
So Matt said that, why are you buying the papers? I never bought them if we lost. Don't buy them. And he's dead right. Why buy them? Why torture yourself by reading about it? It's bad enough you see it in the real flesh of the game.
The writing was on the wall as well as the back pages. This was the low point. In his proud soul, Ferguson knew he could do the job. In his heart of hearts, he knew that 15th place wasn't good enough for United or for his own job prospects. As the 90s dawned, his team embarked on an FA Cup run that would signal the dawning of a new era for Manchester United. To be continued.
Webb. Lee Martin from left back, an inspired run on the far side. A chance here and a goal! Just look at that man's face. The years seem to have fallen away there.